Hi everyone, it's SuNN here, and I have another project to share with you on my Fabricate Friday episode. This is a candle box, and on the inside I have, well, you can see what it is, but it's a pure acetate lid. And then I have, once you take the little candles out, you'll see that you've got a little insert. So this is using our window sheets from Stampin' Up and our black cardstock from Stampin' Up and gold soiree paper because, you know, it's fancy. For the little design here, I used the large scallop oval scallop, and then the large oval large oval punch, pardon me. I'm going to show you how to make it. Oh, and I used gold encore silver, or sorry, gold encore ink for the stamping, and I used the stamp set called And Many More, and there are a ton of sentiments on here, really good for little projects like this. One thing to note, if you got the wood stamp sets like I did, okay, they only fit in one specific way. So when you get this stamp set, if you do get this stamp set, be very cautious on how you're putting things together, because there's this one, and I have another one stamp set that I actually take a picture of because I can't figure out how to get them in. So I'm very cautious when I take the stamp out and put it in again, because otherwise my whole world will be upside down for me trying to figure it out. Anyway, I used the To You from me because I thought this would be a nice gift to get. And these are normal size votives. I think they're, I don't even know how tall they are. They're 2 inches and by, it looks like 1.5 to 1 3/4. So, and there is a little bit of room in there so that they can jumble around a bit. But I'm going to show you how to make it. So, I have all my papers here. Bear with me. Trying to be as organized as possible. Okay. So I need a piece of black cardstock, it doesn't, you could use whatever color you wanted. I'm just using black. And the sizing is 9 1/4 by 5 3/4. And I'm going to take my scoring tool, and I'm going to score at 1 3/4 on all 4 sides. Now, I'm just going to put this aside for a moment, and I'm going to get the piece of the gold soiree for the insert, and it is size 9 1/2 by 2, and I'm going to score it. I'm just going to turn it around and score it on the back with my big side here on my scoring tool, not the small side, but the big side, and I'm going to score it at 1 1/2, 2 3/4, 4, 5 1/2, 6 3/4, and 8. Okay. And then I need 2 pieces of designer series paper, and that's for the box right there. Okay. So they are, the DSP for those are 5 3/8 by 1 3/8. And then, look at what I've done. This is our window sheet, acetate, and because it's clear, if I was to do that, you can't see it. So I left the filmy tissue paper on so you can see what I'm doing. Aren't I brilliant? Okay. So the acetate, or I suppose you don't have to use our window sheets. You can use whatever piece of plastic that you want to. Our window acetate sheets are extremely thick. So I actually don't even use my stylus. I use my bone folder. And the acetate lid is exactly the same size as the black cardstock. It's 5 3/4 by 9 1/4, and I'm going to score at 1 3/4 on all sides. So 1 3/4, and I'm pressing. Goodness me, you can see how much effort it is taking me to press in there. Like, I don't think you can hurt it. So 1 3/4 on all 4 sides. And use your muscles, ladies and gents. It's good exercise. It also helps with the fold after, trust me. I made a couple of these and just checking out the sizing. And I used the stylist and I just couldn't get enough of a press in here. So it was way easier to do with the bone folder. But, you know, do what works for you. You don't have to do as I do. Oops. It's like I'm sawing almost. All right. Okay, so that's all done. I don't need my scoring tool anymore. So, bringing into the cardstock. I'm going to fold all the sides and burnish so I get a nice crisp fold. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut up nice and straight as I can, and I'm also going to wedge in. And you've seen me do this a million times, cutting straight up on that side wall and wedge in. And don't worry about any of this, you know, the measurements. I have it all on my blog. I've double checked it because, you know, I'm not perfect. So it's measure, for me, it's measure several times, more than twice. And then I do a prototype, and then I do an example, and then I do one for you. So I'm hoping that I'm all, you know, got all the errors, the kinks worked out. So today I've got my Tombow, and the reason why I'm using Tombow today, or my glue, is because that acetate is obnoxiously strong, and it will push against the sides of the cardstock. So you may want to use a stronger adhesive, and obviously this glue is pretty darn strong. And what I'm going to do here, this is something that normally I don't tell you to do. I tell you to sort of match up that nice straight edge with the corner. But today, because of the acetate going in there, and the acetate is the exact same size as the box, what I'm going to do is get you to move this wall just out like a sliver. So err on, you know, not being 100% perfect and, you know, straight like this. You want to err just a little bit, like a hair. Off towards it being bigger. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, I put my DSP, which I actually forgot to put on first, but that's okay. I can do it this way too. And like I said, you don't have to use, you know, the papers that I do, it's just that I'm a paper hoarder, it seems. And I have all this fancy paper that I haven't been using because I love it, and good grief, I just need to let it go. We're going to get a new catalog here soon in June. So it's important for me to use it up. Okay, so how this is going to go is the edges here are going to stay flat. So these three are going to stay flat, and these two are going to push forward. So I'm just going to do it with my fingers right now so you can see what the heck I'm doing. So basically, it's going to kind of go like that, right? It's going to be a big M. So I am folding with that in mind. And they are different sizes, these guys. I think these are 1 3/4 and these are 1 1/4. I'm not 100% sure on the measurements on that. But you do want to sort of go up and down just so it looks pretty. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Oops. And when I do fold designer series paper, it has a tendency to sort of be wiggly on me. So I always try to make sure, I know that my cutting is pretty darn accurate. So I do try to line up the sides first. So it should be like that. Yeah. So I just left it loosey-goosey, but if you wanted to, you could easily, you know, take some adhesive. Why does snail do that to me? It drives me nuts. Right? It's pretty, hey? Okay, so now for the acetate. So because I wrestled with it and I strong-armed it, it's already kind of coming up on itself with me. So I'm just going to help it along. And you know what? It's so thick and so obnoxious. You really do have to put some elbow grease into it. And they don't call this acetate in the catalog. It's called a window sheet. And I think probably most likely it would be used for shaker cards. See, I can barely see where I creased it on this side. Obviously, I didn't do that well of a job. Oh, hello, muscles. I suppose, you know, like you could use packaging. I know that sometimes when I get clear stamps, they have a couple of different bits and pieces of plastic. You probably don't need to use this high quality stuff. You could use just that. But I had it, so I might as well use it. Okay, so, oh, here's the problem. We can't see what I'm cutting. Oh, good grief. All right. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually cutting out all 4 of the squares. However, I'm not cutting on the score line. What I'm going to do is do exactly what I usually tell you not to do, and I'm sort of wedging out on the wall or on the pieces. So that is kind of like the square that I'm taking out. And you really can't see what I'm doing. Trust me, it works. And the reason why you want to do this is so that it will easily fit inside the box, because it's fitting inside the box. It's not going out over top of it. All right, so I only have 3 of these candles, so I'm going to sneak these 3 out, and they smell good. All right, so giving that a really good press in. So I'm going to start with the wall and I'm putting it on the inside, and you really can't see what I'm doing. Trust me, I'll describe it. I'm putting it all on the inside and tucking it in like you're tucking everything. There we go. And it fits absolutely perfectly. Can you see that? It's such a finished, pretty box. Now, if you wanted to go to one step further, you could punch holes in this if these were smelly, which mine are, and I didn't even think to do that until just now. So I'm just going to take a little bit of fast fuse because I felt that that would be the best way to do it. And there you go. That is my, well, it's a Votive candle box. And it really does fit in there so flush. Can you see that? It's just perfect. So, thanks so much for joining me, kids. Like I said, stop by my blog if you want the measurements and any of the product lists. Bye.